What's up, guys? Thank you so much for tuning in. In this episode, we're going to talk about mindset, current matters,
real estate recession, as well as a life transformational day. We'll see you inside. I'd like to know, Mark, from you, I just want you to think back the last week, 2 weeks, just recent aha, something cool that's happened, something in your life that's been like, something clicked in one way or another. Could be bad, could be good, but just something that's going on.
Yeah, recently I think one of the things, you actually had an Instagram live. I don't know if you recall, a few weeks back, and it was also Juan Gallegos, who's a great leader in PAK in Colorado, that mentioned something about being intentional with what you're good at, in business at least, right? And so I was facing kind of like a little bit of, I would say, like a challenge, right? To seeing what my strengths were, what I was doing currently, what wasn't serving me. In this business, you could have several transactions going on at once, and you try to put on all these different hats. Typically, that's what the agent will do. They'll try to put on different hats. But you had mentioned something in that Instagram live that kind of just snapped something for me. And it's like, what is it that I'm really good at? Delegate the rest. And so that's something that I implemented within the last month or so. And I've seen, my business actually grow since then, and see more, see myself doing things that are ultimately paying me a little bit more as far as like, the activities, rather than just spending my time and my energy on things that don't produce.
That's good.
So yeah, that was a big aha for me.
Yeah.
What about for you?
Well, I think that's it. But on that topic, though, just before we even get in there, isn't it interesting how much more efficient you get when you do that? Because you're only focusing on that 10%, the 80-20 rule, Perry Marshall, there's that 90-10 rule, 95-5, but whatever that is that you're focusing on, the more finite you get with that. I'm just curious, because I know what it does for me, but I'm curious, what's your experience been like with how it has affected your workflow as well, with just you focusing on what you do best?
Yeah, no, it's night and day. So obviously, when you only do the activities that are going to that are your strong suits, right? Ultimately, your whole energy shifts at that point. You're waking up, you're going to the gym with intention, you're doing everything with intention, really. And when you can do your business with intention, then the rest is getting taken care of itself, One of the best tips that I got recently, which is a huge aha as well, is about the whole concept of delegation, right? And so one tip that I got from one of my coaches was, a lot of us are scared to delegate because we're so caught up in having 100% of the grape rather than 50% of the watermelon. And that was mind-blowing for me, Just that whole concept of now, I'm going to focus on what I'm really good at. I'm going to be really effective. I'm going to put all my attention into that. Let go of the rest. It's a game changer. It changes your whole energy, for sure.
It's huge.
It's huge.
It's so big. And I'll tell you, I think with that comes a lot of business maturity. And it's something that I see a lot, especially when working with realtors, is I can tell the level of business maturity that they have based upon their ability to be able to have help around them and have staff. Because, so now having been in the industry now for 14 years, naturally you come across different individuals in all walks of the business, but you hear things. Like, oh, I don't want to work with a lot of people, and I don't want to, and I'm thinking in my mind, like, damn, but if you're not working with a lot of people, then that means you're doing everything yourself.
Yeah.
And typically that mindset will come on, like, I want to have high profitability or something like that, right? I want to say lean and mean. Well, that's fine. You can say lean and mean, but just make sure that you're not lean, mean, doing everything in your business, because then you have a job, you don't have a business.
100%.
So
you have a work style.
You have a work style instead of a lifestyle.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the big things that we learned recently as well with some of the trainings we've done, is just ultimately putting yourself in a position to win, not only in business, but in life. Yes. And so that whole concept goes into play so that you can ultimately live a better life, which I think this whole community brings in. Yeah. The importance of not only improving yourself as a professional, getting the skill set, getting the, the professionalism, but winning in life.
Yeah, so good.
What was one of your biggest ahas recently?
Yeah, so one of my biggest ahas recently, so this past weekend I played in a golf tournament. Yeah. And it's called the Irish Open. And my great friend, Matt Hutchison, we were roommates at UNLV. We played baseball together. And he identified this, but he's been coming out. It's really a tradition for us. This is our 8th year.
That's dope.
So you can imagine, he mentioned this when we were out, I've seen my kids grow because, my daughter's now 13, my son's 11. So think 8 years ago what that was like, right?
Right.
And him staying at our house and we have the same routine. He comes over, he stays at our house. So everything. I mean, he remembers when there was a vision of getting into the property. He really has seen all of it. I will share though, what was really cool was 2 ahas actually. The first aha was how important tradition is with certain people and certain individuals. Tradition and just that word tradition, I'm looking more and more into it because I can tell you that there was a certain sense of a reset. There was a certain sense of through the tradition where I could look backwards and also I could look forwards in the word tradition. And that's the way my mind has been working. And now I'm fostering more and more this concept of tradition where the word tradition, to be transparent, never really meant anything to me. And now, we have certain little traditions that we do. Maybe we don't call them traditions, they're just kind of lifestyle.
Right.
However, finding the power in that tradition, that was one thing my friend really made me aware of. So that was a cool aha. And then another aha was in the tournament, I realized that naturally there's some pressure. Your blood gets flowing a little bit. Freddie Fear kicks in a little bit, right? So you want to be perfect. You want to perform well. So I'm, in every golf tournament that I've played in, it brings a new awareness out of me. And this time, the biggest awareness that I got was reminding myself to stay in my stomach with my breath. Because how interesting it is that how fast we let the world speed up on us and how fast we don't stay in our stomach. You can take this to business. You're in a real estate transaction. All of a sudden somebody says something to you.
Yeah.
And you're in your head, your shortness of breath, and then your next reaction is not a reaction that you're proud of. And it's moment to moment. It's so quick. So my biggest aha was really like, in every situation, get back into my stomach. Make sure that I'm breathing through my stomach. It was light years the difference. My decision making, my body inertia, my movements, my focus, my awareness was not even in the same realm.
Right.
When I was breathing in my stomach or when I was just rushing kind of through my being in life and going, I have to hit a shot right now because it's my turn. And I wonder what they're thinking. They're thinking if I hit this close or if I don't hit this right, all of this is the external world.
And that's a good example of life.
It's exactly what it is.
Life's going to continue to slap you up, have distractions, have people in your ear telling you what you're doing is either wrong or right. And I think that goes hand in hand with anything you do. And just being able, and you mentioned a good point, right? Being able to stay present. Being able to truly stay present in the moment, it allows you to be able to, really perform at your peak. But not only that, you mentioned life. Life is going to continue to happen. You talk about, how you first got the home. At that point was like the ultimate exciting goal, right?
Right.
So let's reframe into that, because that was 8 years ago when you bought that house.
That house was 5 years ago.
5 years ago you bought that house. Your life has completely been different since 5 years ago, right? Fast forward to today, tell me a little bit about what excites you now. What's that exciting feeling that you wake up to every day?
Oh, well, right now, the most exciting feeling right now is getting a basketball court in the backyard. It's a basketball court.
And your son's into basketball.
My son's into basketball.
Yeah.
Basketball court, it's cool. Also, I want to build an entire little section where I can practice my Kali, my Jeet Kune Do, and just kind of get to work on all my different movements. I also, a sauna, cold plunge area. And really, it's just a kind of a transformation of that space to fit kind of this next chapter of life. So that's what gets me going to work, right? But also doing it in a responsible fashion where I'm going into it, I'm not financing it, I'm not doing all this crazy, So I've got, so the nice thing is that it really keeps me very disciplined in some of the other financial areas of life with running businesses and things of that nature. So it's really cool, right? Anybody could say, oh, I got some extra cash. Here we go, when now they just deflooded their freaking savings accounts, right, and that type of thing. It's not about that. It's about being in a financially savvy place as well to make those positions, which is a whole nother thing that I'm learning, which is awesome. You know, it's all part of the journey.
Part of the process.
It's all part of the process, which is great, and it's happening at the perfect time.
That's super cool.
What about yourself? What excites you? Like, what right now is like the big looming kind of goal?
The exciting goal.
The exciting goal, yeah.
Yeah, I think right now, you know, being now just barely getting 3 years in the business, life has been, you know, incredible recently, and just experiencing different things like going to the basketball game and going to the Rams game, and just experiencing different things like that have been super cool recently. But I think now it's really just exciting to know how my business has transformed since I first started, how my mindset has transformed since I first started. And ultimately what excites me today is, obviously there's the goals, right? There's the visualization, there's the houses, there's the rental properties, there's the wealth that we want to build. But what gets me excited is like, okay, the constant recreation of who I need to become to get to the next level. So that's what gets me excited. I mean, that the whole concept of personal development and recreating, really, getting out of the toxic habits and becoming better every single day in whatever aspect of life.
Yeah, that's good.
That's exciting to me.
That's good. That's good. You're so right, man. I will tell you that what you just said there, and just to go a little bit deeper, that, because how old are you?
25 years old.
25.
25.
So if I were to look back, right, I'm 37. So if I were to look back, though, I do agree, and I don't think anybody's talked about this much, but you just brought it up, is those years, right, those formative years of like 24 to, you know, whatever it is, really, I really believe it's once you make that declaration and you really step into I'm going into business now. I think habit breaking is probably one of the biggest formulas that you're really working on, because you're working to break certain habits that no longer serve you, and you're looking to add in, and then not just add in, but compound on habits that really are going to ultimately shape your life. And the cool thing is when you learn that goes into any field. It's really a skill set of learning how to break certain habits and then recreate a new habit that serves you better.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you hit it.
What are some of the current habits right now that you're working to kind of reshape and remold?
Yeah, so one thing that I think I'm very insistent on is the mindset, right? The mindset takes you everywhere. You know, I'm a firm believer that whatever our thoughts are, it leads us to what our actions are, leads us to how we feel and all that, right? And so one of the biggest things that I do every day, regardless, I consider myself somebody that's very strong mentally. However, regardless of the day, it's the first thing I do is I pray and I thank God for another day, but also I get my mind right. And I fill my mind with some of the videos that, you know, I share with you, I share with my colleagues, and ultimately put me in the best position possible so that I can, you know, go towards the day, you know, go towards the tasks I have set aside, and also be conscious of the things that are not serving me anymore. And at one point in my life when I first started, I remember clearly that one of the things that was challenging to me was just the environment I was in. You know, I grew up from a family who ultimately no one has that entrepreneurial mindset. No one has, you know, done something like that. And so it was difficult, not for me to be able to explain to them, for them to understand ultimately what goal I was chasing. And so it was really important for me to get myself out of that situation. I remember even moving out of my parents' house. That was a big deal for me. And at that point, I was still fairly new in the business. But I threw myself out there. I put myself in the best position possible to just say, you know what? If it's up to me, it will be, you know? And putting your back against the wall is very necessary in this business. And I tell, you know, all my buddies that are in this industry, all my agents that are, you know, trying to learn from me, is that I consistently put myself in positions where I have my back against the wall, you know? And for a lot of us, that's scary, right? But I feel like pain and fear and all that is the biggest, especially in the beginning, it's one of the biggest motivators to help you leap and take that next step.
I mean, you're so right. You got to learn how to get cold.
Get cold.
You got to get cold.
You got to get cold.
And people will laugh at it. They'll say all this, you know, oh, you ice plunges and all that. You know, I'll tell you, man, getting uncomfortable is really what it's about.
Yeah.
It's just learning to get uncomfortable and learning to be okay with that voice that goes, oh my gosh, you know, that ego that comes in and goes, oh, you're not safe right now. This is too much. What are you doing? What are you doing? It's learning how to quiet that. And I always refer that back to this. You got to get cold. You got to stay uncomfortable. You know?
Have to stay uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I mean, and if you reach a level of comfort, it's like...
Yeah, I want to share something that you talked about there because it brought up a lot. I think it's great for those that are listening. If you caught what Mark said there was, he caught that he had to actually remove himself from a certain situation. And I just want to kind of paint the picture for you on what this looks like, because it happens so much in our lives, is here you have a great young man who's going out there, he's excited about the business, and let's say he comes, for example, to an office, and he hears somebody like myself saying, anything is possible, you can earn as much money as you want, working less than 20 hours, you could be in the best physical shape of your life,
Right.
you can be in the best financial shape, you can create the relationship of your dreams, you can do all of these great things. Where do you want to live? Oh, I want to live here. Wave a magic wand, you can now live there, right? So you have somebody that's going in and pouring in and sharing these things, or you might be doing this online, you're listening to and you're hearing inspirational things, yet it's almost like you go back down the mountain. You remove yourself from that, almost like a safe space. It's like a space that makes you feel good. You remove yourself from that, and now you go back into your reality. And you're surrounded by individuals that maybe have not been exposed to somebody. And I have a lot of empathy for people because I don't know what they've been exposed to or what they've not been
100%.
exposed to. I've been exposed to a lot, so therefore my mind is always constantly wondering and staying curious and seeking and creating and doing those types of things. However, there's individuals that maybe haven't gone through that. It is what it is. Either way, now they're placing that mindset and those thoughts on maybe their fear, they're casting it on that same individual that just heard
100%.
this. And so many business people live in this, I feel great, I feel bad, I feel great, I feel bad. In both areas, you almost start to create this tendency of like hiding behind that in a sense. And I really believe that we have to, and I think it's Napoleon Hill or Earl Nightingale that says it best, is we must learn to stand guard at the gate of our mind. And we must learn how to do what you did. And sometimes standing guard is actually not telling somebody what you want them to say to you or anything. It's just removing yourself from the situation completely. And it sounds like that's what you've done.
Yeah, and another thing is ultimately it's you. No one's got you like you got you.
Yeah.
You mentioned one time, right? No one's gonna wake you up.
No.
At the end of the day, it's us that need to, take that self-accountability, because if we're not accountable for ourselves, nobody's going to be accountable for us, quite frank. And
Absolutely.
so ultimately, it's up to us to be able to have that awareness of what's going on in our life and remove it if it's negative, and also see what's wrong with us, because a lot of times that we're not perfect. We're in a constant wheel of recreation, like I'd mentioned, and if we're not trying to improve certain sectors of life, then ultimately we stay stuck, and that's what we see. That's what we see in this industry, is we see quite a bit of people that, have all this potential. I mean, that's why we see the breakthroughs. 1, 2 little changes make the biggest difference as to one agent, having consistent years of decent business and then having the best year of his life. And that's what we see a lot here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it goes back to the harder you work on yourself, to your point. And again, this is, we hear this all the time, work harder on yourself than you do on your job or on your business. Well, it really is that functionality, because it's like a spoke, it's like a wheel, and it's all these different spokes. So the more that you're working on one area, you start working on other areas, you start finding the similarities. So it's really a cool thing. With the conversation that we were just having, and for the realtors out there, for the lenders out there, again, you really have to watch who you're surrounding yourself with, because remember, the economy that one person is experiencing is the economy that they are experiencing. It's because of their choices, it's because of their actions or lack thereof. So you take two individuals, you got one individual, we'll call him Mark, who is sitting here, and every morning he's waking up to the same mindset that the world is waking up to. Our first thoughts are typically negative until you've trained yourself. Oh my gosh, what's happening? I'm in a bad place. Oh my goodness, like I got this to do today, this to do today, this is due today, this is due today. It's craziness. But then he goes into right away working on his mindset. And he goes into a journal. He goes into listening to thoughts to say, you can be anything you want to be. You can do anything you want to do. You can live life on your terms. And then you got another individual.
It's almost like you got to transform yourself, quote unquote, delusional.
Yeah.
You got to become delusional with the idea that you can create the life of your dreams.
Absolutely. Well, you become what you think about most of the time.
You're either going to be left or you're going to be right. You're either going to be negative and you're going to live a crappy life because of your crappy thoughts, or you're going to stand up to it and you're going to be positive and you're going to say, you know what, today could be that damn day where my life changes.
And I want to talk about something. I think I've been in these phases, right, where I was a buster when I first started in this industry. So I would say I lived on the side of negativity more than I lived on the side of positivity, right? Just naturally, I was just because of what I was surrounded with, right? Oh man, my schedule's changed, or oh, this is tough. I got to work more. I got a prospect. They're telling me no. I got to all of like that good stuff, right?
Right.
Then you go into this concept where you understand that there is a positive side that can literally will into creation something that you desire, a closing, a listing, a sale, income, right? And however, there are still gaps and there's lulls. So you kind of go from this positive to this negative to this positive to this negative. And I really believe that therein lies the biggest challenge in our industry. Because when we're going from this positive to this negative, these little spurts and these little drafts of inspiration, right? It gets right back combatively met with your current circumstances and the current individuals that you're surrounding yourself with. Most individuals in our industry, not the top 10, not the top 15%, because what they've figured out is they have figured out to remove themselves from this and this going back and forth stuff that we deal with. And they have made the decision that, you know what, I'm only going to live over here. And this is where I'm going to live.
It's a decision.
And it's a decision because what happens is you have to remove people and circumstances and situations that live here and that live here. This teeter-totter is really the death zone. It's really the death zone. The ones that are here, these are the ones that you see, and I'm just going to get right into it, right? These are the ones that you see that are constantly working on themselves. They are working out, they're doing cardio 2 times a day, they're doing prospecting 3 times a day, they're reaching out to people, they're plugging into the system. They are so entrenched and so indoctrinated into the system, they know they have to be there because they can't even afford to listen to this stuff over here. It's not. So that's why when, you'll probably get a response, and as you mentioned, oh, I'm hearing Trumponomics and recession, all this stuff. It's like, if I'm living over here, I ain't even heard any of this stuff because I understand that none of that has anything to do with my economy. My economy is the economy that I create.
100%.
And I am creating that within the actions I am taking or the actions I am not taking.
Correct.
Does that make sense?
Like that?
I mean, that should make sense.
No need to elaborate on that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about PAKTIVATE.
PAKTIVATE, yeah.
Yeah, PAKTIVATE.
What are you most excited about for PAKTIVATE?
I'm excited for just having everybody from everywhere come, to Rancho, our new hub, check out our new studio, check out the new office.
Same.
But we're also going to have a very, very special guest.
Oh, yeah, Daniel G.
Talk to us about that.
Man, to be transparent, I don't...
How did you find out about Daniel G?
Well, I think maybe you sent me a clip of him or somebody. Through Instagram, I had seen a clip. And then, he said something, and I'm like, wow, I just like speakers. If you're in, and I've heard a lot of speakers, so for me, I'm like, who's out there that's dope that you can learn from? So my thought process was, I'll just go shadow him, because I've done that throughout my career. I'll go shadow somebody, I get to learn from him, and it's great. But then it came to this whole situation. It's like, now I'm so connected to my PAK family that it's almost a disservice for me to go learn something, because when I go learn something, I just want to come back and tell everybody about it, right? So then I'm like, all right, so, Daniel, he's been phenomenal. Like his team, the process of going about it is very easy, honestly, which is nice to see, right? Because a lot of times you hear individuals are talking about sales and things like that, but there's a dysfunctionality between them and the actual system. And I'm a big systems individual. So his system flowed nicely, man. So we got it locked in. And then from there, really building the event out around it. So now the individuals that participate.
When's the event?
So it's March 27th.
And it's a 2-day event, right?
Yeah, so we're going to start it off with a little welcome gathering. The day of the event, which is the 27th, that'll be a day full of content, acknowledgement, appreciation, learning, growth, really breaking down to get built back up type of material. But absolutely, by far, the most empowering real estate event that anybody is going to encounter in 2025. And I think when we tie in the additional aspects of the event, so afterwards we're going to come back here to do an open house so that the individuals of our PAK family that is traveling and also here can just kind of come together, share a meal together, which will be awesome. That to then the next day, which is we're going to be taking a walk up Etiwanda Falls. It's a beautiful hike. Maybe very kind of intermediate walk, which will be nice. Everybody will be able to participate and do it. Going into I have a great friend, his name is Justin Tristow. He shared with me an experience that we both shared together, which was being able to go and actually plunge into a natural water bank river flow on the side of a mountain with these beautiful trees. So we're going to be doing that experience and then coming back for an intensive. So I think when the cultivation of the event takes place, I think it'll be an event, quite frankly, that nobody will ever forget. I think
agree.
2025 Q1, people will remember this first PAKTIVATE as an event that activated their life forever.
I agree. And
can I just share one more thing? Also, my Jeet Kune Do Kali instructor, Sifu Chris, will also be there, and we're actually gonna be talking in a couple days on just some very basic self-defense. I want anybody that participates in that event to walk away feeling like they are a lean, mean, fighting, money-making machine.
Hell yeah.
All of those things in one. So that's really the goal, because that's what I feel like, and that's what I want them to feel like. So there's a really a cultivation of that, and I'm just so excited about it. So what you were gonna share?
No, it's going to be a sick event.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be life-changing. I think every single pack event's almost like we're upping the stakes a little bit.
Oh, every event.
So,
yeah, that's great.
and every event has, for me, I know I can remember the first reignite that we had in, where was it? It was in
Pacific Palms.
Pacific Palms. It was very life-changing for me, right?
Yeah.
And I know that, an event like this could be life-changing for another individual that was perhaps in a similar situation as I, right? And so I think one of the biggest things for a lot of the people who are maybe are seeing from the outside still is take that risk. Invest in yourself, put yourself in a position to learn, because ultimately one idea can change your life. Just one. You don't need to learn everything. If you learn one thing from this event, it will change your life.
Now, one idea, one concept, even aside, it's interesting, right? Because you go to these events, and what I'm most excited about for people is, the event's going to be great, but when you're walking up that mountain, or you're coming back down the mountain, or you're, maybe you're at the Top Golf event, or you're here, and you have that just a conversation where you meet a relationship with somebody that you can really lean on. And that's what a PAK for me represents, is it's the collaborative way where now individuals know that they actually have like-minded individuals that, because I always say this, distance doesn't separate people, communication separates people. 100%. You can be my neighbor. We could be literally from this building to that building, and we never say a word to each other. We feel completely distant. Yet there's somebody in Arkansas that I feel like we're doing life together with. You know what I'm saying? Because we're constantly in communication. So, however, that physical presence it's unmatched, and you can't quite.
It's hard to explain. You just got to be there.
You got to be there.
You got to be there.
You got to be there.
Got to be there.